Welcome to Intro to AJAX. This is a bonus episode 3 where we're going to talk about the fail and the always function in jQuery. Now, this assumes that you've watched all the previous episodes and that you're familiar with the code that we're going to walk through that works when a successful response comes back. But this time, you'll see I've uncommented the fail and always functions here, and then I've also written some guts of them up here so that we can see them happening. Now, just like we did with the done function, the first thing that I want to do is a console log just to make sure that I'm getting to these two things. So there's a couple of things that we can do to make sure that this happens. Always is always going to happen. So that's the first thing that we can check. If we come over to our browser and I click on any one of these and I have the console open, what I should see, in addition to the done request spitting out the successful response, we see the this always happens. So we know the always function is happening. But now we have to create a situation where a failure occurs. And so one of the ways that can happen is if we have another person delete one of our contacts, let's say we delete number 10 here, and that happens in a different window. And now we see in this window that contact number 10 is gone. But if we come over to this window, contact number 10 is still there. So what happens when we click on show now that that's been deleted from our server side? What happens is we get this 500 internal server error, and this always happens once again. And we see that we've console logged what we get. We get back this XHR object. And we also get back the error, which is the status, and then internal server error, which is the actual error message. Now, this is an unhandled error. Because I have the console open, you can see what happened and you can see that it's red. But for a user, they don't see anything. It just looks like nothing happened, and they might click it over and over again, not knowing that anything's wrong. So we want to fix that. And the way that we do that is that inside of our fail handler, we can do some sort of reporting. And you can do it straight on the screen or anything like that. But just for simplicity for this bonus episode, we're going to say an error happened, and we're going to use an alert box to take care of that. So we're going to have to refresh this to get the JavaScript back, which means we're going to have to delete another user to recreate this same kind of error. So I can come here and let's delete number 9 this time. Let's make sure that that's refreshed first. Okay, so we have all of our users here. We come over to our other screen. We delete number 9. And now number 9 is deleted. So we can come back over to our original screen. And then when we try to show number 9 here, we should see an alert box so that it no longer fails silently. So you can have a better user experience than this, but this is just to show you that you can report the error happening to your user. So the next question is, if we handle the done and the fail, why do we need an always function? And this is the case that you need something to happen consistently, no matter if it's success or failure. And one of the great examples of this is if you have like a loader spinner wheel, which I'll show you. And you don't get this for free. There's a bunch of CSS that makes this happen. Don't worry about this. You can look this up online. There's tons of examples of how to do this. But all I have to do is add the loading class to the body, and then we will get that spinning wheel. So I can do that in the click handler. I can just use jQuery to hook into the body and then use the add class function to add the loading class. And I'm going to do this first without adding anything to the always handler to see what kind of issues might come up if you don't use the always handler. So if we do a refresh here, and then if I click on one of these to show them, I get this loading spinner wheel here. And what happens is if I don't clear this, it just stays. You'll see that the response finished and that it showed up here, but I didn't get rid of my loader wheel. And I want to always get rid of the loader wheel. It doesn't matter if there was a failure or success. I want that to happen no matter what. So let me refresh this. And then we'll come back here, and we're basically going to do the reverse of what we did here. So what I always want to do, no matter of success or failure, is remove the loading class from the body so that my user can see what's happening and interact with the page. So we'll get the new JavaScript loaded by doing a hard refresh. And then once that's done, when we click on show, we'll see the same loader wheel, except this time, once the response actually comes back, it pulls that loader wheel. Now, the same thing should happen on failure. So if I come over here and I delete, let's say, number 1, then I can come back here, and even in the error case, when I say to show number 1, the loader wheel is there, and I'm going to get back an error response this time, but I still want the loader wheel to go away. That's why I put it in the always function. So now when I click OK, the loader wheel is gone. The alert prevents the loader wheel from going away right away, but you'll see that as soon as I clicked OK on the alert, it cleared the loader wheel. Okay, to recap this episode, we're going to look at the code that we changed, and it all happened again in the application.js folder. And what we did is we added a named function for the fail handler and a named function for the always handler. In the fail handler, we just did a simple alert box. You can do something more advanced than that for sure, but this is the structure that you want to have set up. In the always handler, what we did is removed the loading class from the body so that that loading spinner wheel would go away. And we also added the loading spinner wheel when the request was initiated. And then finally, we just uncommented the fail and the always so that the jQuery AJAX function knew what to do on failure and what to always do. And that's where we put in our named functions, the AJAX fail handler and the AJAX always handler. So anytime that you want to create a production level client-side application, you want to handle failures and you want to handle always. So the done function will get you that immediate success functionality, but to take it to the next step, you really always want to have a fail and an always function to make your application handle unanticipated things and error cases. When you're dealing with a server that's outside of the realm of your application and you don't know what could go wrong. The network could go down, the server could go bad, somebody could put a bad bit of code out there, anything can happen. So you want your client-side code to be resilient. And the way to do it with jQuery is with the fail and the always functions. So we hope you enjoyed this series on Intro to AJAX. We'll see you next time. Thank you.